Yeah, a lot of rumors have been abounding. Actually, if you get like I get some financial emails from people that supposedly tell me secrets. Anyway, but they're not bad to look at because they could be decent alerts on things. But it seems to be the people that are pushing some of these financial instruments. They're pushing palladium recently, big time. But that's such a small market that not a lot of people can really go into that. You know how David Morgan talks about the silver market being so tiny compared to gold? Well, palladium's like infinitesimally small compared to even silver. And depends on what numbers you use, but if you take like they even use palladium in photography and platinum besides silver for like pictures that will be like way over 100 years old. They'll use like palladium and platinum. They'll use that, for like long-term storage. That's a small part of it. It's electronics. Mainly it's the catalytic converters. Yeah, I know. But I said this before freaking couple dozen times, but I guess there's new people out there. But you think it's only just cars, but you know what? Cars and catalytic converters are coming on stronger and stronger globally. Maybe they're going down a little bit in Europe and United States or something, but globally automotive production is going up. Now the other thing is, we're not going to electric cars right away, but we're going to looks like there's going to be more and more hybrid cars, with a little electric assist motor or something, or the other way around. And hybrid cars use 30% more palladium than regular cars. Interesting fact, right? So more cars are being produced, so that means more palladium being used, because that's the major usage of it. It's about 60-65% in the automotive sector. Hybrids use 30% more than regular cars. And also there's more and more legislation where they're regulating off-road vehicles, farm equipment, things like that, to have catalysts. So like a lot of earth-moving machinery or whatever the hell it is. I know that would be diesels, but hey, diesels have, I don't know, I think they have catalysts too, but they're doing more and more regulation, global regulation, on getting catalyst in off-road vehicles. So that's even added to the fray. So even though it's like one area that palladium is really used a lot for, that could, it's a big area that's growing too. Don't matter. It's almost like having a business and you got 90% of your business is one customer, and the one customer happens to be Pratt Whitney or some crap, and they need a lot more planes, and you're an aircraft manufacturer, you're a jet engine manufacturer. Don't matter, price will go up. So palladium, even though it's like in one area, I know some people have it's almost like they have a fetish for freaking metal, like silver. I'm going to tell you this: silver is better in, obviously silver's money. It could be money. It's not money like gold, but it's historically been money for thousands of years. Palladium has only been on the scene since the 1800s. It was just discovered. At that time, it was after the, I think it was the planet or something, or some Palos. Actually, the word palladium's been around since the ancient times. It used to be like a protector of the city. It was a type of tablet that was a protector of the city. Palladium has the connotation of being a protector. It's also a Greek god, stuff like that. It's other things, so, it's got a little superstition in there too. But, the thing with palladium, I'll get right to the thing, is like, I heard these BS rumors about the Russian stockpiles being out in 2009, being almost out in 2010, and they're not almost out. And they threw a real curveball in 2011, in November 2011. Oh, they were saying for the last couple of years, the stockpiles are almost out, and the thing goes up to 850 back in a couple times. Actually, it was early 2011, and it went up to 850 an ounce in August of 2011. And then in November, it was crashed, with everybody else in September. Actually, it crashed with platinum, silver, gold, when they raised all the margin requirements. And then it even crashed more in November, because even though they had record usage, the Russians dumped on the market from stockpiles that supposedly were rumored to be depleted. They dumped a whole pile on the market, and drove the price down. So I think this game's going to go on again, but I think Palladium's going to have a run up again. But just don't. Eventually, it's going to be worth more than gold. But this next time it goes up, I think the Russian stockpiles got more stuff behind the scenes than you think. So it may not go up to some crazy prices like some of these people are predicting. You know, so it's not a bad investment though. I'm actually just going to hold on to physical palladium for umpteen years. I'll hold on to that past silver because I think that's going to play out. Fundamentally, palladium has more going for it than silver. A lot more. It's, you know, I know they come out with these figures. It's 30 times more rare than gold and 20 times more rare than platinum. That's an exaggeration. It is way more rare than gold though. And it's even more rare than platinum. 20 times more rare than platinum? No, it's more rare than platinum. I don't know where these guys come up with this BS, but they throw these numbers around. But considering the price of palladium is, you know, like 6 something, and gold's like under 1,600. I mean, it's way less than half the price of gold, yet it's more rare, and it's way less than half the price of platinum, and it's way more rare than both gold and platinum. You know, fundamentally, it's got to go up. But, and the other thing is, there's not too many suppliers of palladium. I noticed the scene has kind of changed a little bit, where palladium used to be about between South Africa and Russia was about 90% of the world's palladium. Now it's about 82%. And in Russia produces more than 40% of the world's palladium. But there's one mine in northern Siberia, Norilsk mine, that produces 39% of all the world's palladium, which is most of the palladium that comes out of Russia is in that one mine. The reason palladium is so cheap is that since the 1930s, Russia, Soviet Union at that time, you know, under Stalin, was using gulag, free labor, to work those mines. So, you know, it's like they didn't pay nobody. They just fed them and worked them to death. That's why the metal was so cheap. And then they stockpiled the metal for decades and decades and decades until the late 70s, where it turned out there was a use for it with the catalytic converters. And interestingly enough, in 2001, it went to like 4 times the price of gold, and Ford Motor Company bought it, which I think was a total setup, even though nobody's saying that. I mean, to me, it's obvious. I mean, the smartest, brightest financial people in Ford panicked and bought it at 4 times the price of gold. You know, something ain't fit right with that shit. Big time, you know? But we may eventually see a major run-up in palladium where it's thousands of dollars an ounce. You're going to have to be patient with this shit, though. Big time. Big time. And, you know, I got the kind of palladium I bought, I got them in the 1 ounce Sage silver bars. I didn't get the coins. The reason I did that is because I want to be like idiot proof as far as not mixing that stuff up with silver, because even though it says silver on it, you can grab a coin, or somebody can grab a coin, there's a whole pile of silver and it gets mixed up and there's a palladium in there, and you can do something really stupid. So that's why I have them in 1 ounce Sage certificates. And actually, I think when you have that certificate on there with the number and all that stuff, I mean, I think people, the buyer would actually, you know, whoever buys it some years from now, would actually realize, you know, it's probably safer buy for them, you know. I don't know. You know. But I guess, you know, showing a receipt from Gainesville Coins is probably even more. But, you know, I guess if you're going to scam on metals, this is going to be the one big consideration, because if you're a crook and you want to scam somebody on metals, you can show a receipt that's fake, because you can Photoshop anything. You can make a safe certificates easier than you could even faking the coins, right? So, I don't know. Just, you know, actually you're going to have to, you know, I'm going to tell you something. I'm kind of digressing here a little bit. But also be very careful of the reputation of people you deal with. You know, that's one reason I like dealing with Gainesville Coins, where I was. And also up in that guy up in Utah with his Silver Liberties, whatever the hell his name was. But, you know, it's actually, you got to be very careful who you deal with when you go to sell this stuff. because you know, it's going to be, it's going to be the reputation of the person that's going to, and the actual dealer that's going to make a lot of big difference. But palladium, I think, is going to be your best investment, bar none. Just that it's going to take a while. And right now, I've been noticing a lot of hype going out there right now about, Vladimir Putin's getting screwed up right now. It's his worst nightmare. The palladium's running out, and Russia's no longer going to be the biggest supplier. I think that's a pile of bullshit. Actually, Russia's still going to be the biggest supplier because South Africa is getting screwed up because all around those countries, they're firing so many miners. They got so many strikes. They got so much problem with labor in the mines that their production's going to have to be going down. They got power outages and everything else. Now, I know the major problem up in Russia is all the pollution. Like, there's not even one tree that grows within 20 miles radius of Norilsk mine in northern Siberia. It's considered like practically the most polluted place on earth. They got to pay the miners double wages, and they still can't keep the place staffed with people to mine that metal because it's that damn polluted. But it's probably, since they've already, they've been producing stuff since the 30s out of that mine. And, Russia, I think Russia's going to keep their stuff a lot better together than South Africa. They're going to find the people to do the job. They might have to pay them a little more money, but palladium looks like a super, super bet for going up. Just beware of some of the hype that's out there because the Russians have thrown very big curveballs before. In 2001, palladium went to 4 times the price of gold. Now it's like, 35% the price of gold even today. And, they threw that curveball in November 2011 after 2 years of rumors about stockpiles being depleted. They dumped the whole pile out so much on the market, even though palladium had a record demand year and supplies were down and production was down. They dumped so much on the market, they drove the price down pretty hard. Actually, pretty damn hard. So, it's like, I assume they're going to play the same game again. But, if the damn stuff goes way the hell up, don't be afraid to part with it. That's the way I look at it. I mean, if it went to, theoretically, it's going to have to be more than gold. And I'm thinking, gold is going to have to be at least 3,200 an ounce in, say, by 2017. It's probably more like 5,000. So palladium is going to have to be about 6,000 an ounce. You're probably going to get like almost 10 times on the damn crap inside of like several years. Now, if people actually knew this ahead of time, they'd be buying it right now. But most people are stupid. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. But, like I said, it's not just catalytic converters is a big deal about it, but it's also military uses. There's a lot of uses for palladium. And, I know it can get priced out of the market, because there's always a replacement. You get the price high enough, you got demand destruction, but it doesn't mean the price can't go crazy for a little while. And I can give you examples of, there's other markets out there. I'm not super familiar with all this stuff, but I've seen prices of various types of isotopes that aren't actually sold to, they're just sold between private parties and stuff. Man, they go from like one extreme to the other. I mean, a few bucks an ounce to like thousands an ounce. That crazy. Like hundreds and hundreds of times higher in price on some of the more exotic isotopes out there. I don't know. People pay it. They pay it. I mean, somebody was going to pay me like $5,000 an ounce for palladium right now. See you. But that's probably where it's going to go to. That's probably where it's going to go to. So just beware. They're gonna play a couple games with this metal because they've always been playing games with this metal. But we're probably going to see a super spike in palladium at some point in time. There's going to be a couple fake outs before it gets there, but I think there's going to be a super spike in palladium where it's worth a lot more than gold at one point in time. And, you want to be in it now. You don't want to be in it later. So that's my point. It's going to work out, but there probably is going to be a couple head fakes before it hits there because they always did this before.